by Professor Carl Lydecker, who's our Senior Vice Principal. And Carl is going to just give a kind of a wrap-up and a overview of some of the really exciting developments taking place here at the University of Aberdeen over the next couple of years. So we're going to start off. I'm joined by my colleague Karen from the Student Experience team and a student of ours, Felicia, who's a law student. So guys, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming along. So Karen, can you just maybe start by telling me a little bit about your job here at the University of Aberdeen?
Yeah, so I work in the Student Experience team, and our job is to look after students from the point of acceptance to the point of graduation, and that's through offering a range of initiatives and programs for them to get engaged and get the most out of their student life.
Excellent. And Felicia, I understand you're a law student, and can you tell me a little bit about how long have you been here at the university?
Yes, so I've been studying for 4 years now, and I'm just about to enter my 5th year because I am doing a joint degree with European Legal Studies. But yeah, I've really enjoyed my time here.
Excellent. Okay, so Karen, obviously student experience is quite a broad area.
It is.
Can you tell me a little bit about, first of all, some of the facilities here at the University of Aberdeen in relation to like student support and what we offer students?
Yeah, so Aberdeen is quite a compact campus. We're based across two main campuses, one at Forester Hill, which is our School of Medicine, and then Old Aberdeen. And across both campuses we've got some fantastic library facilities. There's wonderful study spaces, and it's something that we're continually investing in, is enhancing our study spaces for students. The Aberdeen Sports Village is right across the road from the main campus in Old Aberdeen, where we've got world-class sporting facilities for everybody. Hillhead Halls of Residence is just a short walk away, and I think you'll be speaking to Jackie a little bit later on. She'll tell you a little bit about the accommodation. So everything is in one place, in walking distance, and the main student union building is in the heart of campus.
Super. And in terms of then the support services that we offer, can you tell me a little bit about those?
So we have a number of teams dedicated to various aspects of support. So our student support and advice office have staff there who are able to advise students on a wealth of things, from mental health issues, money matters, or just general advice and support. OSA Advice are also there, and that's the student represented body, and they're there for offering advice and support. We have a fantastic careers office who I think are just behind us today, talking about the range of support that they have for students. They offer a variety of internships, help with CVs, career opportunities, so there's loads happening there. The International Centre, which is on the High Street in the heart of campus, is a centre. It's not just for international students, but it's for any student who's wanting to have an international experience. They can find out about go abroad opportunities at the International Centre. We run a number of events and trips around Scotland where we take students out to explore Scotland. And then there's peer groups, language practice groups, so there's loads of opportunities.
Excellent. And Felicia, as your time as a student here, which of the facilities have you used the most in the time you've been here?
Yeah, I think just simply like the library, Sir Duncan Rice Library especially. It was just the perfect place for like meeting for groups when I have like assignments and so on. I've also used, the Go Abroad and so on, because I was away on Erasmus. I've used all the different support networks around as well. Career Service, amazing, to check over my CV and everything as well. I've used the Sports Village facilities as well, going to the gym and so on, basketball. So yeah, I've used quite a lot of them, to be honest. Yeah.
The one thing we haven't mentioned is the catering outlets that we have on campus. There's an array of fantastic
info
outlets, and the info hub, of course, as well. Yeah.
What's your favourite place, Karen? Felicia, to eat on campus? Like,
I actually really love Roots. Like the vegetarian vegan option, and I'm not even vegetarian, but it's great. I really enjoy it. Get my 5 a day.
So on the area of like health and well-being, what kind of programs do we offer here at the university?
Yeah, so we're absolutely dedicated to ensuring the health and well-being of our students and staff at the university, and our new initiative that we're launching this year is Be Well. The Be Well programme will kick off in September with a week-long event which covers all aspects of students' well-being. We'll have in Elphinstone Hall, this will be transformed into a big fair where we'll have all the charities and providers come along.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a series of events throughout the year that focus on different aspects of a student's well-being.
Yeah.
And these have been identified by students. So for example, sexual health, mental health, study tips, and we support them through that.
Excellent.
And also through our student channel, which is our blog and vlog site, where we have students who write content about specific issues that affect students.
Excellent. And Felicia, in terms of, you mentioned, I think, you did a year abroad.
Yeah.
How was that as part of your experience here at Aberdeen? In terms
I think it was honestly an amazing experience. It really helped me when I returned back to the University of Aberdeen as well. So I chose to go to Finland, which had a completely different culture, I'd say, to like Scottish culture. And it was nice to just see a different perspective as well and see the way that we study. And I think I also appreciated a few things as well when I came back from my year away. It made me more motivated to like work hard and so on, and more focused, I think.
And what student societies did you join as a student here?
So as a student, I started with basketball, but that didn't work out. But I've joined the Law Project, which is where you provide pro bono legal service to the community. But more recently now, I'm a part of YADAM, which is a society which supports refugees and creates awareness about the different issues surrounding migration. So yeah, I'm the current vice president for this incoming year.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Okay, so I kind of just want to follow up with a question more generally about Aberdeen City and the campus as well. Obviously, prospective students coming from outside of Aberdeen or even outside of Scotland might be interested in just terms of general student safety and things like that. Can you tell me, Karen, from your experience with working with students here, how safe they find it here?
I think we have a very safe campus. We have 24-hour security on campus. In our halls of residence, there's 24/7 support available to students. We also have an app that students can download called Safe Zone, and that is just an extra security net that students can use to ensure their safety on campus. But I think, do you find the campus quite?
Yeah, I think it's quite safe. Aberdeen is really safe.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's quite easy to get around. As you said, we are a compact university. So going to town is literally just one street, one long street. So,
Excellent. So that's great. Thank you for that overview. Very insightful. I hope people tuning in have found this section useful. And Felicia, obviously very best of luck with your final year and your exams this year and everything going forward.
Thank you.
So we're going to move on. The next section now, we're going to be joined by some people to talk a little bit more about student finance. So as we wait for those, I'll just want to mention a few housekeeping issues. So the next open day takes place here on the 5th of October. That's a Saturday. So if you haven't had an opportunity to come and experience the campus here today, please do go to our website where you'll find information about registering for the event on the 5th of October. Open Day is a great experience. It's a great opportunity for students to come, obviously to visit the campus, to hear from academics about the different subjects, the different programs we offer. There's also an extensive range of campus tours. You get to tour the library, you get to tour the sports facilities. We also put on a program of like sample lectures and lab demonstrations and things like that as well. So it is really a fun-packed day and a really great opportunity. So I would recommend anyone to please, if you're interested in attending our next event on the 5th of October, to go to the website and register for our next event. So I've now been joined by two more colleagues, Tanya and David. We're going to talk to Tanya and David a bit about student finance. So Tanya, you're from SAS.
I am.
So you deal obviously with mainly with Scottish students attending university.
And EU students.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And David's going to talk to us a bit more about the student finance from the perspective of students coming from other parts of the UK, or indeed international students coming from abroad. So Tanya, can you just tell me a little bit about what is SAS, first of all, just to start off, introduce what SAS is and what you offer?
SAS is the Student Awards Agency Scotland, and we're the main funding body for all Scottish and EU students going to do a course of higher education in the UK.
Okay. And for students who would be looking to attend university next year, can you tell me a little bit about the process of how the student finance works and what they would need to be doing in advance of applying to university?
Of course, yeah. Well, I've been talking about this a lot today. So in terms of applying to SAS for their funding, they would do that the April of the year they're about to start. Okay. So for students today who are looking at open days and deciding what they want to do, they won't physically apply to SAS until next April. So once their offers have started to come in, they'll then apply to SAS for their funding.
Excellent. And can you tell me what resources are available to students, in terms of whether online or through their schools or through SAS directly that they can avail of?
Absolutely. As part of the funding awareness team, we travel around Scotland. We go into all the schools, universities, colleges, trying to make students aware of what funding is available to them. A big initiative we started last year, we've offered to go into schools just before the students finish up their S6 and do online workshops with them. So we'll actually go in and sit with the S6 pupils and help them through their online application. So that's proved to be a huge success as far as we're concerned.
Excellent. So what generally is the type of funding available to Scottish students attending university?
So as long as they're attending university in Scotland, their tuition fees are free, but they still need to apply to SAS to get their fees paid. They can also apply for student loans through us, and for lower income families, they can apply for bursaries as well, which are non-repayable.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And is it just a one-off thing then that you do when you're applying to university, or what do you do like once you've actually joined university? What happens after?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think they apply once and that's them done, but they must apply every year. So even for our students who are maybe just applying for tuition fees, they must apply to us every single year. It's not an automatic thing because we physically pay fees to universities. The students must make that application every year.
Okay.
Yeah, really important.
Excellent. So David, your experience working with students coming from outside of Scotland to study here, obviously from the rest of the United Kingdom, other parts of the United Kingdom and from overseas, maybe students coming from the rest of the United Kingdom, how does the process differ compared to, let's say, if they were going to university in England or Wales or Northern Ireland, for example?
So in terms of the actual funding arrangements, there is no difference, regardless of whether they come up here to Scotland or stay down south. They are entitled to the full support from Student Finance England, and the same rules and regulations as at an English institution would apply. One important difference is here in Scotland it's normally a 4-year degree, but we only charge students from outside of Scotland for the first 3 years of their degree. So while they sort of benefit from that extra year in terms of the flexibility and the study options, they only pay the same amount of tuition fees as they would as an English or a Welsh or a Northern Irish institution. And we do have some scholarships as well for them. There's a merit-based scholarship and an access-based scholarship, which is based on household income. They are both automatically applied. There's no need for a separate application. It's all based on the information they provide when they submit the application to Student Finance England and to UCAS.
Excellent, okay. And so students obviously then coming from outside of Scotland don't have any interactions
No,
with
they
SAS
won't apply to SAS, no. So
they just need to engage with their relevant funding bodies.
As we were saying, Student Finance England for English students, Student Finance Wales for Welsh students, and Northern Ireland for the Northern Irish cohort.
Excellent. So, David, for students coming from outside of Scotland, obviously they do pay the tuition fee. So, are there scholarships available to support students from outside of Scotland?
So we have some for students from within the UK but outside of Scotland, so from Northern Ireland, Wales and England. There's a merit-based scholarship and a household income-based scholarship, what we call an access scholarship, both of which are automatically applied.
Excellent.
For students from further afield, so international, non-EU, non-UK students, we do have scholarships available, but we haven't finalized them yet for the next intake. So unfortunately, I don't have any specific details in terms of amounts or regulations. They will probably be merit-based. More information should become available later on in September as the new sort of application process opens up. But for both our non-Scottish UK students and our international students, we fix the fees at the point of entry. So normally the amount of tuition fees they pay in first year stays the same throughout their entire degree study period.
Yeah.
So they can sort of budget ahead and they know exactly what their costs will be year by year.
Excellent. And where would be the best place for students who are interested in finding out more about scholarships? Where can they go to basically find out more?
Obviously they can always get in touch with us, via email or via the phone. But then also we do have something called the funding database, which is available on our website, where we tend to list all those scholarships we are aware of. So obviously for the UK-based ones, we have quite a detailed information from our colleagues at SARS and others. For international ones, we list those that we are aware of, but often students might also be entitled to funding from their home government or from scholarship bodies that deal specifically with international students.
Yeah.
So wherever possible, we try to have it on the funding database.
Excellent. Okay. So is there any kind of, going back to the for Scottish students, what would be the kind of key takeaway if you were to sum it all up in a minute? Like, what would be the key advice you would give to a student applying next year?
What I've been saying to everybody, and I say quite a lot at the open days, is apply early, get your application in early. That way you know exactly how much money you're getting into your bank account on the first day of term. You also know your tuition fees are going to be paid. And that's hugely, hugely important. And the other thing is to make your application every year. And they need to be aware that it has to be made every single year.
Okay. And David, I presume the same advice generally for students coming from rest of UK or internationally?
Yeah, generally the earlier they apply to us, then the earlier they can make their arrangements for student finance and student support, especially for international students looking at some of the non-Aberdeen specific scholarships. There might be early deadlines that are applicable. So the earlier someone has an offer, the earlier they can deal with all of that. They won't be sort of taken by surprise to find out that there would have been funding available.
Yeah, that's really important.
But unfortunately, they missed the deadline because it was a month ago or earlier in the year. So the more information they have, the earlier, I would say, generally the better for all of them.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you both very much.
Very well.
Well, thank you.
And, nice to be here.
We're going to move on now to our next colleague is going to join us is Carol. Who's Carol Baverstock is head of admissions. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the admissions process for applying to Aberdeen. While we wait for Carol, just to mention all this going on here in the background, this is the academic exhibition, which is kind of, I suppose, the focal point of Open Day. There's academic staff from all of the different departments from across the university. So it's a really great opportunity for students who are visiting today to actually meet with the professors, the lecturers of the subjects which they're interested in. They can ask questions about their courses, about the different subject areas that are on offer here at Aberdeen. There's also staff here from across the various student support services. So some of them we've already spoken to today. There's people here from the career service, from student accommodation, etc., study abroad. So as well as meeting with academics, you also, when attending Open Day, you can use this opportunity to meet with staff to talk about other questions that you, or indeed your parents might have about attending university here at Aberdeen. So I am glad to say I'm now been joined by Carol Baverstock, who's the head of admissions. Thank you very much, Carol, for joining us.
Hi, Brian. Very welcome.
So, Carol, can you tell me just a little bit about, just to introduce yourself, like what your role is here at the university?
Yes, happy to do that. So at the University of Aberdeen, we've got centralised admissions.
Yep.
So essentially, when we get all of the applications, they come into our Directorate of Student Recruitment and Marketing. We're looking at the applications and making the decisions and hopefully helping our applicants make the right choices.
Excellent. So for students who would be applying for entry in next year in 2020, yes. When does that admissions process begin? Like, how early can they start making their applications?
Okay, well, some students will have found that we've already started the process. So what happens is students will work with their schools to support them through the application process. So for the students in the UK and beyond, the application route is through UCAS. Mm-hmm. UCAS officially opens in the next couple of weeks, so early September. And essentially the first closing date that's coming up is the 15th of October 2019. So for students that want to apply for medicine, for dentistry, for veterinary science, they need to get their application into UCAS by then.
Okay.
And then for everybody else, they're working to the 15th of January 2020. So still plenty time.
Yeah, yeah. And what about, would that be the same for students applying no matter where they are applying from the world, or are there different deadlines for students applying, maybe like international students applying?
There is some flexibility for students outside the UK and who are international. So international students, if they're wanting to study for medicine or dentistry, as I've said, the closing date is the 15th of January, 15th of October, 2019. And then for everybody else, it's still the 15th of January 2020. But international applicants, they do have a little bit longer if they want to apply. A word of caution, though, is that, you know, obviously international students, if they need a visa to come into the UK, they just need to make sure they have plenty of time to get themselves ready for that.
Yeah.
So yes, they can apply after the 15th of January, but essentially we would welcome applications at any point.
Excellent, okay. So what generally does an undergraduate application consist of? Obviously it's an online application. What are the different kind of parts of the application?
Okay, so yes, it's an online application and it's very straightforward. So applying through UCAS, essentially their applicants are providing a little bit of information about themselves, who they are, where they're from. They get an opportunity to explain the qualifications that they've already achieved by the time they apply. And they can also give information about qualifications that they're currently undertaking.
Okay.
The main thing after that is the personal statement and the reference. So I know that for some students they get quite anxious about the personal statement, but really it's just a chance for applicants to tell us a little bit about themselves, why they want to do the degree that they're hoping to study, but also just other things that they're involved in, things that they're involved in at the school, things outside school, sporting things that they do, for example. So really just, it's a bit like a CV, just, you know, presenting their information. And then after that, the reference is provided by the school or college that are supporting their application. So that's really it. So it's not too onerous and it doesn't take a huge amount of time, but we know it can be anxious for applicants.
So how important is the personal statement overall as part of the application, and indeed also how important are your references alongside your academic qualifications? Okay,
well for Aberdeen, you know, the personal statement and the reference, they are important because we do read them, we do look through the information that's been provided. And as applicants will see in our prospectus, we have information relating to widening participation, contextualised admissions, and so for a lot of applicants, using the personal statement and the reference is an opportune way to explain circumstances that are unique to them, and then we're able to pick that up and, if applicable, apply an adjusted offer of admission, for example. So we have information online, we have information in our prospectus, and we use the personal statement and the reference to kind of gather additional information that will help us make the right decision on that applicant.
Excellent. So I mentioned at the beginning, obviously here at the academic exhibition, we have colleagues from across the different departments of the university who are, you know, talking to prospective students about the different programs that we offer here and courses. Could you give me just a very brief summary of, you know, what kind of courses and programs do we offer here at the University of Aberdeen?
Yes, delighted to. We offer a huge range. So we obviously offer medicine and we offer graduate dentistry, but we offer teaching. So that's both the 4-year undergraduate degree, but also for students that have their degree and want to do the 1-year teacher training for either primary or secondary. And then after that, it's a huge range across arts and social sciences, across sciences themselves, including biomedical science. Also, we've got our law degrees and engineering. So a huge range covering most disciplines.
Excellent, okay. And in the arts and social sciences, obviously Aberdeen, along with a number of the other ancient Scottish universities, offer we call our degree the MA, the Master
MA,
of Arts.
that's right.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because obviously it might be confusing for students, particularly who may not be familiar with, particularly in higher education in Scotland.
Yes, so as you're right, Brian, the ancient universities in Scotland, we offer the MA degree, which is Master of Arts, and the equivalent of that for some of the other Scottish universities or universities south of the border would be known as a Bachelor of Arts degree. Yeah. They're very, very similar. It's just terminology that the ancient universities have used for hundreds and hundreds of years. Sure. But the beauty about our Master of Arts degrees is the flexibility that it affords to students. The flexibility is still there for science, for engineering and for law, but for the MA it enables a student to come in to study a subject but to take other courses alongside, give them the flexibility to move between different subjects but all the time moving forward and not having to repeat their studies or start again. Yeah. That's the beauty of the of the MA.
So that would obviously be for students who might know generally that they're interested in the arts and humanities, social sciences, but they may not be quite sure exactly what subject they want to specialise in.
Yes, so the beauty for some students that they might not have encountered the subject at school, for example, so philosophy or sociology as an example, they might pick that up as part of their studies if they're doing a history degree or an English degree, and then they find that they've got a real passion for that other subject that they didn't get a chance to study at school and change direction, but they don't need to start their studies from year one or year two, they just keep going.
Well, so how far into your degree realistically could you go before you and still be able to change and graduate on time, essentially?
Yes. So essentially you have that ability during year one and year two of your degree study to try different courses that are part of your degree study and then change direction, so that when you get into your honours years, then you are studying the courses that make up that particular subject.
So obviously that's in the MA, which like we said is arts, social sciences, business subjects, all that would come under that.
That's right.
What about then in the kind of the physical sciences, engineering and things, life sciences? Is there similar flexibility in those?
Yes, there's similar flexibility. So, for example, for science, we get lots of students who might come in and do a BSc in pharmacology, for example, and what they do is they might move into the biomedical science route further down the line. That doesn't add to the length of their degree. They're still going to graduate when they would be expecting to, but there's lots of opportunities. We do offer some of our science degrees, sort of an MGall or an MChem, which are slightly longer. We also offer science degrees that have an industrial placement, which is an additional year. So a student might start in a degree that doesn't offer the industrial placement and move into that as they develop their interests or think about their career objectives further down the line. With engineering, we obviously offer the MEng and the BEng programs in a variety. It's a common couple of years in engineering, so students are able to move between the BEng or the MEng option, but also the different permutations of the engineering degrees. So yes, lots of flexibility just to kind of keep options open for students as they're going through their studies.
And something else, I was talking to a student earlier with an academic, and they were talking about things like sustained study and 6th century courses. So these are obviously courses that you can do as part of your degree.
Absolutely.
But wouldn't necessarily something you would take on to honours year, is that correct?
That's correct, yes. So during year one and year two, it gives students a chance to enhance their curriculum for which they get credit for. So we get students who have never studied a language, for example, at school, but they want to pick up a language. They can do that in year one and year two. They get credit for that because it features in their transcript. It might not feature in their degree title, but it's in their transcript. And you get students that want to explore courses outside their immediate degree area. And that's kind of like, the broad breadth subjects. You can then mix with students from other areas, mix with academics from other areas, share ideas. So yes,
that's very interesting. So you're not limited in those choices, then, are you?
No,
in terms
no.
Of
you're able to. There are some. For example, the law degree might have some limitations because of professional accreditation. But generally, the majority of degrees under the MA, under the BSc, under engineering, give students an opportunity to pick up these additional courses.
Yeah, very good. So in terms of, just to kind of sum up again, thinking about students now who are attending Open Day
Yes.
today, might be tuning in online, and hopefully might be attending the next Open Day
Yes.
on October 5th. Given now that we're kind of getting into the start of the academic
Yes.
year, what would be the kind of advice you would give to a student now in terms of what they can be doing now in terms of their preparation for their application?
Okay, well, first and foremost, I think they need to be working with their school and their advisors at school, starting to get their application prepared and thinking about the degrees and the options that they want to apply for. And then the main thing that they'll work over in the next couple of months is their personal statement, and just
Okay.
making sure that they get that the way they want it to be and promote themselves
Yeah.
as best they can. And then
Okay.
best of luck.
And finally, for students then attending, what do you think they can do on Open Day in particular to make the most of the opportunity that Open Day affords them?
Well, I think have fun, ask questions, go and talk to the academics, go and listen to the talks that are available, make the most of the programme, download the app, look at all the information that's available, and essentially, make the most of your day and ask
Super.
questions. Please don't leave with a question unanswered.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thank you very
Carol.
much.
You've been
Lovely.
very informative. I hope that was useful
Thank you.
for those of you tuning in, and who, especially if you haven't had a chance to attend today. One of the things there Carol was mentioning, of course, was the MA, which is a feature of the ancient universities in Scotland, and just thought that kind of segues nicely into the venue we're in here today is called Elphinston Hall, which is named after Bishop Elphinston, who actually is the founder of the University of Aberdeen. And he founded the university back in 1495. So next year we are entering into our 525th anniversary. So for those of you who will be joining the University of Aberdeen next year, it's quite a momentous time in our long history, and it's going to be marked by a number of events throughout the year, celebrating the history and the traditions of the university, but also most importantly the wonderful successes that we've achieved over the years, both in academia, but also the wider impact that the university has had, particularly on Aberdeen and the northeast of Scotland, but also much further afield. So a lot of the events that we're doing next year to mark the 525th anniversary will involve our widespread network of alumni throughout the UK, overseas, in North America, as far as China, Africa, which really goes to demonstrate, like I said, the impact that the university has had over its long history. So moving on to the next topic we're going to talk about is the area of student sports and facilities. So I am joined by Isla and Gavin. Isla and Gavin are going to tell us a little bit about their experience here at the university and a bit about the facilities. So Isla, I might just start with you. Can
Yeah,
you
of
just introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about your role here at the university.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Isla. I'm the sports officer for OUSA. This effectively means that I run all 55 of our sports clubs. I work on doing events. I head up the student union as their student liaison. Sorry, the sports union as their student liaison.
Excellent.
So a lot of stuff like that.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about I might speak to you, Gavin, more about the facilities and things, but in terms of Isla, the program, the kind of for students who are involved in sports here at the university, can you tell me a little bit about the kind of activities that are available?
Yeah, so we have 55 different sports clubs. That's everything from Aikido, which is a martial art, to things like weightlifting, volleyball, underwater hockey. It's a really wide range that we offer. When you become a sports union member, you have access to training at various facilities, and then you can compete in Triple S leagues, which is Scottish Student Sport, or you can compete in Bucks, which is British Universities and College Sport.
Excellent.
There's lots of opportunities for both personal development and sporting development as well.
So obviously, quite a few students are, really accomplished athletes and would be kind of high performance sports. But obviously, there's plenty of students too who might just have a more general interest in sport, who want to do it. Maybe if it's just going to the gym or playing kind of more intramural kind of sports. So how do you cater for the different kind of ranges of interest in sports for students?
We try and cater for everyone. In terms of high performance, that isn't actually managed by OUSA, it's managed by the sport and exercise team at the university, so they focus on elite athletes and they provide the scholarship and bursa programs. In terms of OUSA, our key goal is participation. and we feel that with participation, performance will follow. So we're really about getting as many students active as we can, and then we support our clubs so that they can achieve the highest achievements that they can.
Yeah, excellent. So Gavin, you're from Aberdeen Sports Village,
Yes,
just across the street here.
Yeah, just across the road. Yeah.
So can you just give me a quick overview of the main sports facilities here at the University of Aberdeen?
Well, my name's Gavin. I'm a sales and membership manager at Aberdeen Sports Village. So I'm part of the group that sort of bakes all the best deals essentially for the students to ensure that they can take part in the best facility possible in Aberdeen. We work closely with the student union as well, but we will provide facilities for members and non-members to give them access to the gym, our Olympic-sized swimming pool, our diving pool, the athletics areas and the squash areas as well. Everything's included under sort of one house essentially, which is great, and it's just across the road. So
yeah. So obviously, students who are here today at Open Day, you're running tours presumably of the facilities throughout the day.
For the whole day, we've got tours every half hour from about 10 o'clock until about 3:30 today. And the students that are visiting today are also getting to just basically see our sort of facilities in full flow. That being said, we are currently undergoing a gym refurbishment. So we can't show off the brand new kits and everything that we're going to get, but that'll be opening on Saturday this week. Once it's open on Saturday, it'll be all fresh-faced and amazing and ready to go. So yeah.
So how do students go about joining the Aberdeen
So all you
Sports
need to
Village?
do, we'll actually be at the Freshers' Fairs, we'll be in the move-in weekends, we'll be showcasing there. But ultimately, if you want to join, all you need to do is just pop into the facility, or you can do it online. And we'll get you set up straight away. You can set up on an annual membership, so you can pay it straight away, or you can set up on a monthly basis.
Oh, okay, right.
And we also offer the flexibility of freezing your membership as well, so that could be a big benefit for students who might go home and stuff like that during.
Yeah. And what are the opening hours at the sports
The opening
village?
hours, we're opening from 5:30 in the morning until 10:30 Monday to Friday.
Right.
7:30 till 7:30 on a Saturday, and then 7:30 till 9:30 on a Sunday. And if you've got a membership, a peak membership, that will give you access to the areas any time they're open.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what are the kind of busier times for the gym and the pool and things like that?
The busier times are probably round about sort of after work, so about 5 o'clock-ish till about 7 o'clock are our busier hours. But if you've been to the facility before, you'll see how big it actually is. So we can actually accommodate for so much space and stuff like that. So.
Excellent. So Isla, in terms of a student coming to the university, what would be the kind of the process of getting involved with the different sports clubs? Like Gavin mentioned Freshers Week. Obviously, that's when the first week of term when clubs are recruiting into from new students joining the university. So you could just talk me through that kind of week and how's best to kind of as a new student kind of try to sample, see what's actually available in terms of the different sports.
Yeah. So obviously Freshers Week is a huge event for us.
Yeah.
We are running our Freshers Fair over 2 days, so that will be Tuesday and Wednesday of Freshers Week, during which we'll have both sports and societies having stalls there, which means that you can go around and sample everything that we have to offer.
Yeah.
If you do want to get involved, you can get information directly from them, or you can go along to one of their Give It a Go sessions, which is basically a free and open session that you can come and try a sport. Additionally, most of our clubs will have Facebook pages. All of our clubs are on the ISA website, so you can check out their training times and stuff there. You can alternatively email me as well at isasport@abdn.ac.uk, and I can give you more information.
So can you give me an idea of the range of sports clubs available? I think there's over 50 different clubs.
Yeah, so we have 55.
55, great. So what kind of different sports do those clubs span?
Very much anything you can think of. We have obviously traditional things like football, hockey, rugby, badminton. Some less traditional, so things like underwater hockey. We have weightlifting, volleyball. We have a wide range of martial arts. We have things like aikido, jiu-jitsu, karate, kickboxing, all-round fighting. We also have some societies which are sports as well, so we have things like ice skating, dance and kickboxing.
Excellent.
Very wide range.
Mentioning earlier about students who might be different levels of academic athletic ability. For students who just want to play sports very casually, are there kind of ways you can just meet up with for let's say things like five-a-side soccer or
Yeah,
football
of
or things
course.
like that?
So
Are there?
ISA runs an intramural football league.
All right.
So that runs every year, and it's very much just come, have people out, have a match. Additionally, most of our teams will have kind of like participation recreational teams. So it's very much, clubs have that for everyone.
Yeah. And Gavin, in terms of like if a student who's not here today at Open Day,
Yes.
if they're at home essentially and they want to do some research into the different sports facilities that we offer,
Yeah.
where would be the best place to find that information out?
You just visit www.aberdeensportsvillage.com. That will give you a broad horizon of everything we've got in the facility, or you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter, where you can actually see all the things that are sort of going on in the facility. Due to its size, it is constantly changing. There's always something else going on, as you'll be well aware as well. Best just to follow us on Facebook or visit our website, aberdeensportsvillage.com.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you both for coming along
Thank you
today.
very much. Thank you.
You've been really useful information. And like I said, the students who are here on campus today will be availing of tours throughout the day over at Aberdeen Sports Village. And so thank you very much, guys.
Thanks
And
very much.
we're going to move on now to our next topic. So the next topic is student accommodation. Obviously, it's a big question for students who are moving to Aberdeen to come here to university. So I'm going to be joined very shortly by Jackie Tuckwell from the Student Accommodation Office. We're going to go through the different types of student accommodation available here at Aberdeen in terms of on-campus student halls, and a bit about the process of how students go about booking their student accommodation. Obviously, that's a big part of the Open Day experience as well, getting to visit particularly the Hillhead area, which is where our main student residences are located on campus. Hi Jackie, thank you very much for joining us. So I was just introducing you there, saying about the Student Accommodation Officer. I'm going to ask you a few questions just about student accommodation generally. And then we might talk a little bit about the process involved in terms of students actually booking their accommodation. So for prospective students who might be applying for next year, can you just give me an overview of the different accommodation options available?
So most of our accommodation is up at Hillhead. We have 3 sites around the campus, but the main one is at Hillhead, and that's where the majority of first-year undergrads would apply for. So the kind of accommodation that you can come, you can have a traditional halls of residence.
Yep.
So that would be the long corridors where people would expect to see quite a traditional look. We have self-catered flats, and there'll be around 5 people staying in them. Some are shared bathroom facilities, and the others are en-suite facilities.
Okay.
So that's the 3 different main kinds that you can have. You can buy a catered package with flexible catering. No longer are people going to the dining room. You can use the card around campus.
Right.
It's very flexible for you to use throughout the day.
Yeah.
Other options that you maybe want to think about are going to an all male flat, an all female flat, mixed, non-gender specific. You can have a quiet flat if you want. So lots of different choices for people to think about.
Excellent. So that's mainly based at Hillhead.
Mainly at Hillhead.
How long is it a walk, let's say, from the campus, or do you have a bus service that goes between campus and Hillhead?
We encourage people to walk, and we encourage people to use their bike. We've got lots of bike shed storage up at Hillhead, so we like to say to them, use your bike or walk. There's 2 buses.
Yep.
You can get a bus up to Forester Hill if you're doing medicine, or down here to the main campus. So yes, plenty of choices for transport.
Yeah, and are all the undergraduate student accommodation is based at Hillhead?
I would say the majority, certainly the facilities and the support that we offer, which is predominantly aimed at first-year undergrads, so we tend to group that cohort together. Some of the older first-year undergrads might come down to campus and live in Elphinstone or King's Hall, much more independent living.
So you mentioned the catering options that are available for students, and just generally the support services that go alongside accommodation. Can you tell me a little bit more about, in terms of what's located at Hillhead itself, in terms of just general student facilities?
Oh, we're very, very lucky because we have a building, a central building called Headspace, and that was a renovation project about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Very, very lucky. So we have a 24/7 reception there. The students are able to come in any time of the day or night, 365 days of the year, and there'll be somebody at the reception desk. So we've got that. Alongside of that, we've got Cafe Bar. You can come and watch your football on the telly, come and watch Wimbledon. You can come with something to eat, have a game of pool, play darts, all that kind of stuff. But we also have a community hub, and that's where our resident assistants are based. They run small events like cookery classes. We've got a cooking kitchen. They'll run a music night. So we'll have a kind of music jam night going on, TV room, and lots of classes, arts and crafts, a gardening. In fact, one of the things we're doing this year is we're setting up an outside garden. So one of the SRAs encouraging students to get involved in growing vegetables and stuff.
Excellent.
So yeah, lots of stuff.
So it sounds like there's a lot to do there at Hillhead.
And loads for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's because everybody's different, aren't they? So yeah, lots for them to do.
Absolutely. And what about in terms of students? Do you find that like students spend the full week up at Hillhead then, or like what's it like especially at the weekend? Is it still pretty busy?
Very, very busy site. As you can imagine, because most of them, it's their first time away from home. They focus in on it, they make loads of friends. I would say all the people who come to live with us go on to make friends that they share with the following year.
Sure.
So at the weekend, you'll find them relaxing more, although when it comes to exam time, we turn all the rooms into study areas for them. But generally throughout the term, Friday and Saturday night it's very busy. Very good. People socialising in the flats or up at the central building.
Excellent. So in terms of the process of kind of researching accommodation, obviously Open Day itself is a great opportunity to come to get a tour of the different halls of residence, to see firsthand what they're like. What happens then in terms of the process? So obviously students are applying for admission shortly for next year. How does the student accommodation application process sit alongside the regular admissions process?
So if somebody's fortunate enough to become unconditional straight away when they get their offer, they can apply for accommodation immediately.
Okay.
They'll complete, it's an online process. They'll fill in the application form, give us their choices. Overnight that turns around and we then make an offer very, very quickly to them. And there's a process that goes back and forward with emails and then e-signing contracts. If you're a conditional student, we will still take your application. We'll hold that application. You're still guaranteed a place in our halls of residence in August when you get your results.
Okay.
So it's there for everybody to use. Very, very easy online process to apply.
And what is the latest that you could reasonably apply for student accommodation?
People are still applying now. People are going to be arriving this Saturday, and we are still taking applications. There will still be applications tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. Certainly postgrad students will find them still arriving next week.
Right.
We're still taking applications.
Oh, okay. So although it's quite late in the cycle now, you still obviously encourage.
We still have that guarantee.
As early as possible. Well, that's really great. In terms of the overall advice then, you would just sum it up as saying is to do your research, I guess, and then apply early.
Absolutely. I would say to anybody, if you're looking at halls of residence, you should go online, go into some of the chat rooms that you'll see people will be talking about the accommodation, have a look at the web pages, social media, come and talk to us. Come and visit, do your research so that you get what's right for you.
What overall would you say is the main benefit of staying in university accommodation?
So I think there's two things. Staying with the University of Aberdeen, I think the support is there. We have a night manager on 365 nights a year. We've got a support team. So, and sometimes it's just not always going right. They're there just to give you that wee bit more support. The other big thing is absolutely making friends. We see that every single year. The amount of people who arrive on their own from quite a long distance, and they end up making lifelong friends, without a doubt.
Excellent. Okay, well thank you so much for that, Jackie.
Thank
that
you.
was very informative. And as you said, you've got tours running throughout the day today at Open Day. And for those of you who haven't managed to join us today on campus, we have our next Open Day on October the 5th and you'll be running more accommodation tours that day as well. So great opportunity. In the meantime, students, like you said, can go online.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of information about the different halls of residence available online as well, virtual tours and all these kind of things. So if you're not able to make it to campus, there's basically go onto the website. So thank you again, Jackie.
Thank you.
And we're nearly coming to an end now. We've got one more guest to kind of wrap things up, who is Professor Carl Leidecker. So Carl is a senior vice principal here at the university. He's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the kind of major projects ongoing here at the University of Aberdeen. And that, like I said, it's still pretty busy here at Open Day. We have a huge number of students. There's a great buzz around the campus. So if you want to also get a sample of what's going on today, make sure you follow the hashtag that we're using today, which is MakeItABDN. So you'll find a lot of videos and photos from students who are attending Open Day today on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter using that hashtag. So be sure to check those channels out. So like I said, delighted to be joined by Professor Carl Leidecker. So Carl, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
So I understand, Carl, you've recently relatively recently joined the university as senior vice principal. Can you tell me a little bit about, what is the role of a senior vice principal in relation to, how you work with I suppose generally the student experience here at the university?
Yeah. So my job is to work with the academic schools. So predominantly I'm responsible for the leadership of the academic half of the university. So of course all the student activity falls in that, all of the academic schools. So I work really closely with the heads of school to ensure that they are paying attention to all of the things that they need to pay attention to make sure that the students have a great time. But there's also a different part to my portfolio, which is around some of the infrastructure sides of things as well. So I'm responsible for academic leadership of estates, so all of the developments that we make in our estate to support both research but also around the student experience and student opportunities for coming together, new teaching space, accommodation, all of that sort of thing. I'm also responsible for digital, and that's a really, really important part of the student experience now. Over the last 10, 15 years of the digital revolution, students spend a lot of time online. They spend a lot of time having the opportunity to connect in different ways, to get lectures online and so forth. Yeah. So I make sure that we're investing enough in those sorts of things, doing things like today, which is a new type of opportunity for us. And then I'm also responsible for around the people, which is about the development of our academic staff to make sure that they're well trained and developed for their teaching roles. And that all of our people are working together, that they're happy, because if our staff are happy, we'll have happy students and we'll have a great student experience. So it's quite a big portfolio.
quite a large remit there. And given that you're relatively new to the university, what attracted you to Aberdeen initially to come to work here? And what have your kind of general observations been like since you arrived? What's been your overall impression of the university?
So I thought this was a great time to join the university. Obviously, as probably everybody knows now, we're University of the Year, Scottish University of the Year in 2019. So lots of great things going on already around student experience, because the University of the Year is made up of all kinds of things that matter to students, like employability, student satisfaction, quality of our students, how many retained and so forth. So I knew that it was a happening place at the moment. But I also knew we got a new principal. We've got a anniversary coming up next year of our 525th anniversary, and I've been leading on the strategy development. So I knew that if I came to this role, we're setting out a 20-year vision for our university for the next 20 years of our 525th to 45th year. So for me, it was a great attraction to come to a university that's really doing well already, but is ambitious to do lots of more exciting things over the next 20 years with a new principal, some great investments going on as well. So I knew that we'd be doing some really exciting building projects. We're spending £100 million across our campus just at the moment, and I lead the groups that oversee all of that. We've got the Science Teaching Hub, £37 million next to the library. And here in the historic heart of the campus, we're investing to bring those spaces back to life. Some of the older buildings here need to be reconnected with the rest of the campus. So for me, it was just a great job, a great time at a great university with all that history, but with stuff happening as well.
Super, super. Well, I guess just to sum up, for students who are tuning in online, who maybe haven't had a chance to visit us today on campus, obviously we'll be encouraging those to try to make it to our next open day on October 5th. If you were to advise a student who will be attending the next time, like what would be the one thing you would say as part of open day? What advice would you say? Like, make sure you do this, because there's so much on offer. What do you think is most important?
I still think that walking into our phenomenal library, anybody who does that, it's one of those wow moments in the world. You know, you look up into this gorgeous space and then you can go up to the top, look down through it. Until you do that, you don't appreciate just what an amazing space that is. And then from there, you can see the whole campus, see it all laid out. And that juxtaposition of the modernity of some of our fantastic buildings alongside the historic core, like here in the Elphinstone Hall with all that history behind it. Just soak up the atmosphere.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much. I know you've had a busy day. You've been involved with some of the open day talks already. And we're coming to the end now, so we'll be wrapping up very shortly. I just wanted to thank everyone who's logged in through Facebook and the various different channels that we're broadcasting live on today. I hope that the talks were useful and informative and gave you a flavor of the vast range of support services that are available to students here at the University of Aberdeen, but most importantly, the importance that we place on the student experience, and it was great to actually hear from some of our students themselves about that. Open Day will continue throughout the rest of today. So like I said again, if you haven't had the opportunity to visit us today physically here on campus, please make sure you try to come the next time, which is October the 5th. That's our next open day here. So if you go onto the website, you'll find information about how you can register. And yeah, that's it. We're going to leave you now. And like I said, just finally, thank you once again for tuning in. Bye.